Hey guys, so this is my project number 2 turn in where we reached out to the students for our assignment this week. And so mine's I actually help at two different churches. My home church, Marietta First Baptist, I help teach on Sunday mornings the middle school and high school boys Sunday school class. And then on Wednesdays, I lead a Bible study at Providence Baptist on White Horse Road in Greenville. So as I did this assignment, I tried to reach out to both youth groups. I tried to reach out to some from Marietta, which is my home church, and some from the church that I'm leading Bible study at on Wednesdays. And so for the ministry calls, the first student that I reached out to was Jake, which goes to Marietta First Baptist. Um, Jake and his family have been members for a long time, but here recently I haven't seen him a lot at church. Pretty much since the COVID started, I haven't really seen him or his family a whole lot. But I got to call Jake and talk to him for a few minutes, and he hasn't been there on Wednesday nights at Marietta because he's doing basketball practice. So he's on the basketball team. He's a senior in high school right now. He played football, and then now he's playing basketball. So he's been really covered up with the sports stuff and extracurricular activities with school. Um, and also, Jake just lost his grandfather a couple weeks ago. So I got to talk to him about that a little bit too. Just trying to let him know that I'm still there for him. I've been missing him at church, and from talking to him, he's excited to come back, and he's wanting to come back to church. Especially right when his basketball ends, he said he's gonna be back on Wednesday nights. And I actually got to talk to him a little bit. He rides dirt bikes also, which is something that I enjoy doing and I grew up doing myself. So we're supposed to kind of get together one weekend and go ride dirt bikes together, which I think will be great. We can have some fun doing that and build relationships doing that. And I talked to Jake about any prayer requests he might have, and he didn't really have any other than his schooling coming up. He plans to go to Charleston uh, for college when he graduates this year. I'm sure he's going to be playing sports there, and I can be praying for him about not only doing good in his education there, but also staying on track, spiritually with God and not letting his relationship with God slip as he goes into that college setting because it's such a critical time. So I'm going to be praying for him about that. It was good to get to touch base with him again, talk to him. We kind of hit it off or hit it back right where we left off. So that was really good. And then student number 2 for the call was Jacob. He goes to Providence Baptist on White Horse Road in Greenville. He's been at Providence his whole life, and I've been helping at Providence since right before Christmas. And Jacob and his brother, they are hit or miss when they come. They really enjoy it though. I'm not sure what's holding them back from being able to come on Wednesday nights, but when they're there, they really, really enjoy it. So I got to talk with John, and just a couple weeks ago, he went to a little youth revival that we took the Providence youth to. Actually, Providence Youth was there. Another church in Pickens hosted it, which is Red Hill Baptist. Their youth was involved, and then Marietta First Baptist was involved, and then Renfrew Baptist was involved. So all these youth groups came together for a youth revival, and I got to take the Providence kids. And he was telling me about how he really enjoyed that, and that seemed to be a big deal to him. He had a lot of fun, and I think he gained a little trust in us too as we went. He sees that we're trying to be there and teach Bible studies and really build relationships with them, not just start and leave right away. They've experienced some of that in the past. Um, so I think we're starting to build some trust there, and he's really enjoying it. I got to talk to him about and pray with him over the phone about his grandfather who's having some health problems, and also about his brother who has some. His brother's having some struggles and difficulties himself, so we got to pray for him too. And it was really good to be able to touch base with Jacob. Really good kid. Him and his brother both are really good, and I think that really meant a lot to him. Just for me to call him, I think it kind of surprised him and really, I should have been calling beforehand. But I've neglected to do that. So just to hear that surprise in his voice was good, and I think that I'll start trying to call him more often now. And then the letters. So the two letters that I wrote were actually to Marietta First Baptist Youth. The first letter was to a girl named Kendra. Kendra's been going to Marietta pretty much her whole life. I've taught her in children's church as she was real young, and then now I'm helping to teach her in the youth program at Marietta. So within the last couple of years, Kendra has really blossomed spiritually. She's really active in the youth group and at church. You know, anytime the doors are open, she's there. And she comes from kind of a hard background, family wise. She lives with her grandmother and is pretty much raised by her grandmother and grandfather, who are devout Christians that come to Marietta First, and they bring her with them. So Kendra has been raised in church by them, and she's really growing right now. And actually, at the youth revival that all the churches joined together and had, Kendra played the piano and sang, and none of us even knew, other than a handful of people that she's talked to, some of the people at the church that lead the music, she talked with them, and they were the only ones that knew that she could play the piano and sing. She's kind of kept it hidden. She didn't, but now she really stepped out and did a great job. Playing the piano and singing at that youth revival with so many students there. So she's really growing and maturing right now. And in her letter, I was able to give her some scripture to look at, offer her some encouragement, just let her know I'm there for her, and let her know that God's always there for her. And then the second student that I got to write a card to, or a little letter to, was also a student at Marietta First. His name is Micah. Mike is the same way. I've taught him since he was in children's church, and now he's in the youth program. He's in middle school, 8th grade, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's in 8th grade right now. But Mike is a really good kid. So I sent him a letter just giving him some encouragement about school. I know he was having a little bit of a hard time with school, and that's something that when I was in school, I had a lot of anxiety and stressed, and it was just a hard time. So I was like, well, I can kind of relate. So I sent him a little letter, giving some scripture in there, just helping him to encourage him to know that he can lean on God for his strength. He doesn't have to have fear, worry, stress, but he can find his joy and peace through his relationship with God. And I really enjoyed getting to. I delivered those both of those letters. I just stopped them by the two youths' house, and it was really good to get. Kendra's grandfather was there. I gave him the card so that he could give the card to Kendra, and then Micah was there and his mother was there, and I got to talk with them a few minutes. So that was really good to get to talk with them and encourage them. And then the last part of the assignment was to hang out with a student, for 30 minutes or more. And the student that I hung out with, I'm really close with, his name is Parker. Parker's been at Marietta First for a long time, and I've got to teach him for a long time also. And I'm really close with this family. Parker has a twin sister named Peyton, and they're some of the best kids that I've ever been around. They're just truly awesome kids. Both of them are really competitive in sports. They get along well. Such good kids. But Parker here lately has been struggling a little bit. Several years back, his parents went through a divorce, and I think he's having a hard time with that. And when he was younger and in the RAs, every Wednesday, the RA leader said that he would always raise his hand and say to be praying for his dad to receive salvation. Says dad is not a believer, and that weighs heavy on Parker. It worries him a lot, and I think just not having that male role model in his life is kind of hard on him. And not only that, he's not able to play sports right now because he fell playing baseball and broke his wrist, and he had to have surgery and have pins put in his wrist actually last week. So his mom actually reached out to me and said, Parker's having some problems. He's real stressed out, having some anger issues, and he's just having a hard time right now. And she was like, he really likes hanging out with you, getting to know you. She's like, so if there's any way you might could reach out to him. So when I got this assignment, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. So Parker, one day when I got off work, he was out of school. So I swung by at his house, picked him up. We went to Ingles, picked out some steaks because he really likes steaks and grilling out, that type of thing. And we went home, and I really like to grill steaks. I have a Blackstone grill, so me and Parker got to make some steaks together. I didn't just cook them and us eat together. I let him really help me be able to cook those steaks, showed him what to do, let him get his hands in there and really learn some of that. And just made that kind of a connection with him. Something to let him know that there is someone there that cares for him. And of course, God cares for him more than any of us can ever care for him or love him. But Parker's really struggling right now, and I think it has a lot to do with he doesn't have an adult male in his life that will really reach out to him. I think he's tried to reach out to his uncle, and his uncle didn't really have anything to do with him. So just the littlest things that him or his sister both, the littlest things that you do, they really just take it to heart. So, I got to, gently talk to him about his mom and his dad, and talk to him about his dad a little bit and how things are going there, and his future coming up with he's fixing to get his driver's license, and he really likes to fish. So I got to talk to him with that, just kind of building that trust there. And Parker's starting to hang out with a crowd that's not the best influence. So I'm hoping that he will see pretty soon that some of the kids he's hanging around, he needs to get away from and not let them influence him so much. And after hanging out with him, his mom, she was like, Parker's a completely different person when he's around the right crowd. When he's in church, when he's around the church crowd, he's doing really good. When he's around the right people, he does really well. So, and I think Parker just has a lot on his mind, and I got to really be praying for him and praying for his dad, because him and his sister both really, really worry about their dad and his salvation. So I think that's going to be one of my top prayer requests right now is for Peyton and Parker's dad to receive salvation. And their stepmom also, I don't think she's a believer, so even their stepmom, for her to receive salvation. And some of the answers at the end, it says, what are some of the values in spending time with the students? So as we spend time with the students, something that I noticed is that we build that relationship and we build that trust that it's not automatically there, but when we spend time with them, the least little things just continually build that trust and that relationship to where they will open up. And the next question said, could you sense that the children you minister to were appreciative? And explain. So the ones that I got to talk to on the phone, I could definitely right away tell that they were appreciative, that, they were glad to talk, glad someone cared. I got to pray with them, and I think that really surprised them that someone would pray with them over the phone. I'm not trying to take the credit for this. It's not anything that I did, but it just shows that the Lord's working in their life. And especially Jacob, Providence Baptist Youth is really struggling. They were down to just a couple kids, and Jacob is really excited about getting together with some other churches and hearing the enthusiasm that he has about the things coming up that we're going to try to plan with the church was just awesome. And Jake, I could tell that he was really interested in going to ride bikes, and I haven't really reached out to Jake before, and that's my fault. I should have been reaching out to Jake more often. And Parker, I could really see at the end of the night, he, when we got, after we had grilled some steaks and hung out, talked about school a little bit, you could tell he was appreciative of it, and he was just happy. He had a good time, got his mind off some stuff, so I think he really enjoyed it. And also, I think the parents were appreciative. When I dropped the cards off, the parents and grandparents seemed even more appreciative than some of the students. They seemed like it really encouraged them that there's people in the church that are reaching out to their children, because it's not just me. There's lots of people in our church that's reaching out to these kids. Both churches, Providence and Marietta First, are both reaching out to these kids and loving on the kids. And I think that appreciation that the parents and grandparents shows, I think that just assures us that if we reach these kids, we can reach their families also, and their families can be encouraged from it. And then the last question says, how will this experience shape you, or shape how you minister in the future? So in the future, I want to try to make these connections, especially with the Providence youth, because it's such a small youth group. I can connect with them on a personal level. Um, More than I can with Marietta. Marietta has a larger youth group, so you kind of got your, a handful that you can reach out to throughout the week. But Providence, I can reach out to the whole group throughout the week. There's just a couple of them, so it makes it easy to reach out to all those guys, because guys and girls both. Because I think just having that little bit of security that there's someone there that loves you, and then as we reach out to them and reassure them that God is there and loves them more than we can ever love them, I think that's giving them assurance and giving them some hope throughout the week. I know when I was in school, especially middle school and then starting in high school, I had a lot of anxiety and stress about school. So just someone doing something small, showing that they care and reassuring me that God still loved me, no matter what happened with grades or anything like that. God's love is never going to change. That would really help me. So I think as I move forward, that's something that I want to strive to do. I really enjoyed this little project here, and I plan to keep doing this. I hope it don't end here, but I plan to challenge myself to keep doing this more in the future. Thank you, guys.